ground permanent protection visas for the safe haven enterprise visa and temporary protection visas. We ask that Australia extends its refugee quota by 20,000 for Afghans. We ask for an additional intake of 20,000 Afghan refugees, similar to that other Commonwealth countries such as Canada and the UK. And this is why we're here today. And we would like to draw the attention of the international communities and the world superpowers to Afghanistan, to those innocent children and women who have been kidnapped, abducted, and persecuted by the hands of the Taliban. Now I'm delighted to welcome Sean Nana, a Wajak Noongar elder, to welcome us to the country. Please help me to welcome Sean.
It's a pleasure to be here to represent our family group that lived here and was ever indebted to the beautiful gift of life that our great mother, the earth, gave us. The earth is one boat. We've had many boats come to our shores here, but for us as Aboriginal people of the Wajak land, we believe that we all have a right and a place to acknowledge our great mother, Buja, and the land that we stand on, our mother. So could you raise your hand if you're all born on this earth? Fantastic. If you don't have your hand up, we'll ask you kindly not to tell us where you come from just yet. We've got a bit of work to do, and we've got to make sure that greed is not part of the gift that we take to their planet. Greed has taken many a shape in our community, and today we stand together with our family in the hurt and the sadness of the Afghan community that we know is part of our boat, our home. And it is every right for us as Wajak people of this country to show you that the spirit that is laid in your great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfathers are laid in our great-great-great-great-grandfathers, that we must fight. We must stand for something. Physically, you're here today. This is a blessing. Trust me, if your physical presence wasn't here, then you will be sadly missed by many. And today, many are being sadly missed. It's 2021, people. And the hands of others who take lives is not acceptable, don't you think? We stand here because now you bring your mind, your gift, your thoughts. And we want you to translate that through your words and through your body being here. But then also we want to bring your heart. Is your heart here? And in the place of heart, sometimes our hearts can be a little bit hurt. And we, for Aboriginal people, I believe people all over the world, we believe spirit is the key. Because there, everything belongs. Can you, I ask you, is your spirit here? Then in the eyes of our old people, we speak to your spirit. And I'd like my brother to come forward. And I do not wish to speak your language. But by all means, my great-grandfather is Afghan. I'm a Sikh. He was a camel trader way back when the first tall ships came. So I'm glad to say that in the blood that runs through my veins, I am Afghan. I thank you, family, for having me.
My brothers, sisters, elders, youngsters, I will greet you with Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We are gathered here today to show our support what is happening in Afghanistan to our brothers, sisters, and youngsters. We urge the Western society for the past 20 years, unfortunately, They didn't listen to the Afghan people. What we were telling them, there is something going wrong, but they didn't care. From now onward, what is happening, we want their attention to focus to the Afghan people. What is happening to them, and you see in the Kabul International Airport, which is sad for every human being, not only the Afghans. We all support, and you should say, we support Afghanistan people, and we urge the Australian government, please bring those people. They need our help and our support. Thank you very much for gathering. Thank you.
Now to welcome you to country in the language of our old people in a way that represents all equally. For me, when one sits, we all sit. I'm going to make my way down. Is that okay? So when one's down, we're all down. And so in the eyes of our grandfathers, would it be okay for us to do it together? But I need you to connect with the person next to you by locking arms, holding hands, or just elbows with the COVID. Please unite and stand together now as we speak to the old people with great love and compassion. And let that be our guide and our foundation that we must all turn to in times of need of today and beyond. Shall I come, is it okay if I go in between? Is that all right? All right, here we go. So together we say, Wara, Wira, Buyakana. Bad spirit, go. We don't need you right now. That's the English version. Murich, Wiran, Dad Nyeni, Krobradan, Yen Yaku. Good spirit, come sit, not in the air, but in our skin, Dad Nyeni. And when we feel the goosebumps going over your body, that's all our grannies. They're dancing on our skin. And they're saying, look at our children still coming together and uniting. They understand what unity is all about. They understand that we left a legacy in their hearts and in their mind and their souls and their body that we cannot deny. And now, today, we can honor them. And when you feel the goosebumps going over your body, they're saying to you, don't worry, we're here. Christian, we walk in the footsteps of you, our old people. I say we stand together, one boat, one family. Wanju nija wajak nyonga buja wanju nija wajak Murich yogas wanju. Welcome. Can you hold this? Murich is really good. Yogas our women, Murich Maman is our men. To the children, our kulingas, and to the beautiful Wira that you bring today. Thank you very much for honouring our Wajak people of the Biberman Nation. We stand with you, and may all the beautiful gods and all the spirits stay with you till this time of need. Hopefully they comfort you and make sure that you know your voice, your presence today, your heart is felt, and your spirit will long live beyond this day. And when our great-grandchildren call upon us, because there will be people out there who wish greed to be their greatest sail. There will be people out there who want division and want to control and manipulate. But when we come together, as great Dr. Martin Luther King said, as many of our great teachers, unity will overcome all. Thank you very much.
Sean, thank you very much. Thank you very much for the wise words and for the words of unity. And thank you for sharing this beautiful land with your fellow human beings in here. We're very glad to be here today, and we're very glad to be part of this country. Thank you. I would like to welcome a member of the Australian Labor Party, Mr. Matt Keogh. Please help me to welcome Matt Keogh.
Thank you very much, and I would like to also, of course, acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we're here, the Whadjuk people of the Great Noongar Nation, and thank Sean for his amazing, as always, welcome to country here as we stand in Perth. Thank you for inviting me to be here with you, to stand alongside all of you here today. Labor strongly supports all of the efforts to evacuate people from Afghanistan. And of course, we were relieved to see we've now had a flight land back in Perth, and that there will be more flights coming. We're grateful to the Australian Defence Force personnel that are carrying out that mission in Afghanistan now, along with people from the Department of Home Affairs, the Department of Foreign Affairs, and those that are assisting them on the ground. And we thank them for their courage that will enable people to be able to be rescued from Afghanistan. I visited Afghanistan and Kabul back in 2017, and I met with the Defence Force personnel from Australia and from many other countries operating there. But I also got to meet with the interpreters and other Afghans who are helping the Australian and other forces operating in Afghanistan. I got to meet with them and understand the risk that they put themselves at by helping Australian and other forces. And so, of course, we owe an obligation to them to help them now. As we watch what is happening there, as we watch what is happening across the country of Afghanistan, we cannot forget our obligation to help those who helped us. The Australian government must act, along with other nations that have been active in Afghanistan, to save the people of Afghanistan that have helped them and helped us. After 20 years of active engagement, we must provide the humanitarian assistance for those that will now be targeted by the Taliban because of their ethnic background, their religion, their gender, their education, or because of their assistance to Australia and other nations working there. For many months, veterans, former Prime Ministers and Labor have been calling for urgent action from the Morrison government to fulfil Australia's moral obligation to the Afghans that have risked everything to help us on our mission. Report after report has confirmed the threat that these people would be under. We've been concerned for months by the delay in the government taking action, but instead all we have seen is too little, too late to help all of those that have supported our mission and their families in getting to safety. As with too many things, Scott Morrison has done too little, too late when it comes to helping those in Afghanistan. He's failed to admit that Australia will not be able to help all of those Afghans that helped us. The government's response of only 3,000 visas seems piecemeal. Australia did not use its full refugee quota last year. We have 13,000 places available every year. Mr Morrison needs to take responsibility for not acting sooner to help those that have helped us in Afghanistan. Visa processing for partners, for families of Australian citizens and those that have helped us also need to be prioritised. They've already waited too long. It's been taking too long, and now it is getting too late because of this Morrison government's inaction. The government has a responsibility to help these people. The idea that there's something temporary about the situation is completely wrong. People who are here now need to have certainty, and they need to have support for their families back home, especially those members of the Hazara community who are going to be so targeted by the Taliban now. As I said, Australia has a moral obligation to assist those that helped us and their families. We have international obligations to assist the persecuted groups in Afghanistan. We have the capacity and ability to act, and we should. Labor supports every effort by the government to help everyone, and there's still more that should be done, and we hope that the government will do more. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Maak. Thank you for your support, and thank you, Labor, for your support. This stage, I would like to welcome Senator Jordan Steele from the Australian Greens Party. Welcome, Jordan.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody. And I'd like to start by acknowledging that we are, of course, meeting on First Nations land. It is a privilege and an honour to have been invited to be part of this peaceful gathering as we gather in support and solidarity of Afghanistan, its people, in this time of great crisis. It must be recognised by every single MP in Australia at all levels of government that what is happening right now in Afghanistan is a humanitarian crisis of the most serious nature. There are war crimes being committed right now, and our government must act to offer people protection and support. The Australian Greens fully support the community's demand for 20,000 additional humanitarian visas to be issued. That must happen, and it must happen now. In addition, all those currently here on temporary protection visas must be offered permanent support in Australia. And every Afghan within the Australian detention system should be immediately released and offered permanent protection here in Australia. We must do this, but we must do more also. We must ensure that those on the ground in Afghanistan, in Kabul, are evacuated to safety. We must ensure that there is humanitarian support for those displaced within Afghanistan, and we must make sure that Australia uses its position in the international community to ensure that any government that forms in Afghanistan upholds the rights of Afghan women, upholds the human rights of girls and children, and upholds the rights of all ethnic communities, whether they be Hazara, Pashtun, Turjek or Uzbek, all must be respected and supported in Afghanistan. The Greens are proud to be alongside you in this moment. We know that there is great pain in the community. We know that there is great fear and great sorrow. We know also that there is great determination and resilience and resistance. We will continue to work tirelessly to ensure that the Australian government supports the people of Afghanistan and meets its obligations to all those of the nation of Afghanistan, whether they supported forces in Afghanistan or not. Should not be a measure. There must be support for those that supported the ADF, but there must also be support for all those in need in this moment of crisis. There must be urgent action. Urgent action. I and the Greens look forward to continuing to work with the community, to be guided by the community, to support the community in this moment as we move forward. I want to thank the organisers, everybody who put this incredible gathering together, and I want to commit myself to continuing to work with you to see peace and justice achieved in Afghanistan and to support Afghans here in Australia. Thank you.
Thank you, Jordan. Thank you for sharing your kind words and solidarity with Afghans. Thank you for standing alongside us, and thanks for your support. I now would like to welcome Suresh Rajan, the President of the Ethnic Communities Council of Western Australia. As the Afghan community, we are grateful for the immediate support we received from your organization. Please help me to welcome Suresh.
Let me start by acknowledging the prior ownership of the land on which we gather. We're on the lands of the Whadjuk people of the Noongar Nation, and we thank them for their use of their land today, and we pay our respects to the elders past, present and emerging. was only 2 days ago that 40 academics in Afghanistan, who are actually graduates of Australian universities, but are now resident there, wrote publicly of their abject fear of their lives in Kabul. With the Taliban having taken control there, they have actually written and started a campaign that is targeting these academics who are current and former government officials and family members for summary execution and destruction of their homes and other property. The videos of civilians being publicly stoned and of government soldiers handing over their weapons are circulating very much online. When Home Affairs were advised of this, the response from them was predictably useless. And it was to say that Australia's offshore humanitarian program was designed primarily to assist those who had left their home country, etc., 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 and went back to the usual rhetoric of Australia being swarmed by refugees by boat, etc. The time for that is well and truly past. We're now calling on the Prime Minister to immediately introduce, as a number of people have said today, that we are asking for an increase in the number of places dedicated to Afghanistan of a minimum of 20,000 people of Afghan heritage. Canada has already committed to 20,000, and at the present time, our PM's indicating that we're prepared to take on 3,000. Even Prime Minister Abbott, in his time, had agreed to take on 12,000 Syrian refugees. This humanitarian crisis is every bit as big as the Syrian crisis and much more urgent that we need to do something. We're not about to meet any of our immigration targets in this country due to the pandemic. There is no reason why we could not take 20,000 people, solely comprised of Afghan people, taking up some of the shortfall in all of the other migration numbers. Now, we also have to remember that there are well over 200 Afghans currently languishing in Manus and Nauru. And in addition to that, there are just as many in our onshore detention centers, as well as in community detention on chef visas, and a massive number waiting in Indonesia to find their way here. We need to address all of those as a priority to get them here, and also the people who are in Afghanistan at the present time. Now, I was going to talk to you a little bit about what's happening there, but everyone else has covered that, and I just wanted to briefly read to you the words of Benjamin Zephaniah, who said, and this will resonate with a number of you, "I come from a musical place where they shoot me for my song, and my brother has been tortured by my brother in my land. I come from a beautiful place where they hate my shade of skin. They don't like the way I pray, and they ban free poetry. I come from a beautiful place where girls cannot go to school. There you are told what to believe, and even young boys must grow beards. I come from a great old forest. I think it is now a field, and the people I once knew are not there now. We can all be refugees. Nobody is safe. All it takes is a mad leader or no rain to bring forth food. We can all be refugees. We can all be told to go. We can be hated by someone for being someone. I come from a beautiful place."
Yeah, nice. Nice, stand up, I get it.
"Where the valley floods each year, and each year the hurricane tells us that we must keep moving on. I come from an ancient place. All my family were born there, and I would like to go there, but I really want to live. I come from a sunny, sandy place where tourists go to darken skin, and dealers like to sell guns there. I just can't tell you what's the price. I'm told I have no country now. I'm told I am a lie. I'm told that modern history books may forget my name. We can all be refugees. Sometimes it only takes a day Sometimes it only takes a handshake or paper that is signed. We all come from refugees. Nobody simply just appeared. Nobody's here without a struggle. And why should we live in fear of the weather or the troubles? We all came here from somewhere, and it is time that we allowed the rest of the people to come here from Afghanistan.